What has struck me as being so devastatingly ironic about your story is that your achievements have come from such a tragedy. Do you ever feel conflicted about that?
No, but I think my dear old ma does sometimes. She looks at what I'm doing and she couldn't be prouder of the life that I'm leading, but at the same time, she misses her little boy that used to run around and play and kick balls and ride bikes and hike hills. And there's a part of me for sure that does miss some of those liberties in life that I once had, but I think through my accident, there's been a liberation of the attachment to my physical body. I've realized through my actions that the potential that we all carry in whatever capacity in life is infinite, should we choose to connect with it. So it's again been super liberating to lose that dependency and connection. Not necessarily connection, actually. I feel very connected with the body I have, but the dependency to it to experience a good life.
Tell me about the physicality of the mechanics, the biomechanics of skiing. How is it different skiing in a sit ski to skiing with two legs?
The end result is very similar, right? My objective is to feel as connected as I can with the ski, and if I even find a good ski, then I feel truly just connected with the snow and the surface beneath me. The challenge is you guys have legs, you have toes, you have knees, you've got ankles, you've got all these moving parts that just work so incredibly well together that you can contour and jump and pop and play all over the snow. That's the disadvantage that I face for sure. I've got basically from my waist up that I can control, and that's what I feel the snow with. So now I have to mimic that lower body with my machine, and we've done a pretty good job of drawing from the mountain bike world and using their suspension and their technology and the way it functions to act as closely as possible to a knee and an ankle in the body, but we're not there yet. But the evolution and the growth that we're experiencing right now is probably as much fun as the actual action of playing in the mountains.
And the physicality of going upside down on snow, is that different?
Um, yes and no. The jump that we built and the way that we did it, no. It was as good, if not better, than any flip that I've ever done in my life.
Better because you were proving that you could still do it, or better because it was intrinsically better?
No, intrinsically it was better, but it was better form, better technique, better control, and we didn't rush anything, so we went about it the right way, and we built the perfect jump to allow for this kind of maneuver, this kind of trick. And before, I'd huck them and sling them off of everything, so some of them felt good, some of them felt kind of rushed and kind of crazy. This was a work of art.
It clearly looked beautiful, but it was one of seven.
Yeah. Yeah, so as the day went on, we had landed a few, but they weren't pretty, and then I'd crashed a few, which were less pretty in that. By the end of the day, momentum had built. I started to get comfortable with my speed, the rotation, and just being patient with the jump, with a backflip. You kind of want to ride off the jump and then just stare into the horizon. You see the horizon for a second during your lift when you leave the jump, and then you start to look for it. And my tendency was to come off the jump and set and look right away. So then you're trying to slow down your rotation, and it's a bit of a panic flight. But as the day went on and things evolved, I just learned to trust. And it's all in your breath. Whether you're placing a shot in soccer or whatever you're doing, you just want to, and it's just that moment of anticipation, that moment of excitement when everything builds. It's just kind of like that, just a nice little breeze. You can feel the wind, you see the horizon come, the sky go, and then you look for the snow and you bring it around. It's the best that I can put words to it. It's incredible.
Because most mere mortals, like me, will never experience that.
That's not true at all. I think anybody in any capacity has the ability to experience that magic. The magic in life sits just outside of your comfort zone. Now, for me, that was a maneuver that was just outside of my comfort zone. It's something that scared me for a long time. There's a lot of fear that was in place in the anticipation of doing something like that. But whatever it is that you do in life, doesn't matter. If you just step a touch outside of your comfort zone, you'll find that's where the magic is. So for me, skiing, that's what I do, and that was where I needed to go in order to taste the magic.
But what about when stepping that touch out of your comfort zone involves landing on your head from 30 feet up, when you've already snapped your spine?
Yeah, no, that was a huge concern that I had, right? There's a lot of things that potentially could go wrong, and the outcome could be traumatic. Even more so than the challenges that I already face in my life. And I contemplated that deeply. I asked myself, am I prepared for what could happen? Is my family ready? My wife, could she deal with that? Like, is it fair that I put all these other people in that situation just for my desire to do something scary? And the answer overwhelmingly was no, it's not worth it. So in fact, we actually attempted a few different times and turned around. We never actually executed the trip and the trick for the first 2 attempts that we went into the backcountry. It was on the 3rd time, which is about 3 weeks after we initially started the project, that we actually were able to feel comfortable with the environment and where we're about to do it and go ahead with the project.
But on one of those, at least one of those 7 jumps, you still managed to land on your head. Is it intrinsically more dangerous executing a backflip on a sit ski than it would be with 2 skis, or is it effectively the same amount of danger? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say the risk, my first reaction was, the risk is going to be far greater because I got 40 pounds of machine strapped onto me that if I land upside down, that's a lot of extra momentum that's going to come crumbling onto my head. The only saving grace for us was how deep the snow was. And that was one of the variables we were looking to control, that if I did land on my head, which was definitely a possibility, that the snow and the pitch would absorb everything. And that's exactly what it did. So we went about, we did a couple, I landed a few, and then we decided to change the shape of the jump so I could land in a different spot. And in doing that, I set too much rotation, went over by half, so I did 1.5 somersaults, landed completely on my head. The weight of my sit ski came in, hit me in the helmet, and gave me a black eye, and it was a sight to be seen, for sure. It was scary as hell. Oh my God. I had to sit out for about an hour afterwards just to contemplate if I wanted to go back up and try it again. And once I caught my breath and regained my composure, I decided that it was still the perfect day to be doing this. And the vision that I had set out for myself hadn't been accomplished. Even though I'd landed a few and skied out, I wasn't quite satisfied with where we were at. And again, this is my art. And you'll find with any artist and musician, they strive for that perfection.
That's a really good analogy, actually. This is my art. In terms of the art of making a ski movie, this is a new field, making a ski movie, and not just any old ski movie, but an adrenaline movie, the Freedom Chair, the free skiing that you did there. Clearly there are some physical limitations in terms of filming you as opposed to a 2-legged skier. You can't hike a line and go back and spot it.
Yeah.
But there's a psychological element to that as well.
Yeah.
You have to have trust in others that they're going to spot your jump for you.
Yeah.
Isn't that terrifying?
Yeah, definitely one of the biggest challenges that you run into when you're filming in the backcountry is your exposure to the elements and your inability to really go out and scope your terrain. Like, you look here, what I can see is the valley floor. I can't quite see what's over that edge. And it's important for me to know what's over that edge, but I can't quite get there, especially when we're skiing. I'm not able to hike down and then hike back up and assess the environment. So I have to put 100% faith in the judgment of the people that I'm working with. So that type of relationship is important. It doesn't come easy, and it's developed over time and lost in an instant. I can't have somebody who's like, oh dude, that'd be crazy, that'd be awesome. I need to know every detail, and we're communicating back and forth on the radio, and the people that we were working with, I have 100% trust in their judgment and their concern for my well-being.